Novak Djokovic won the first step in gaining the right to play in the Australian Open, where he's hoping to try to break the record for most Grand Slam titles that he currently shares with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. He had the cancellation of his visa to enter Australia revoked. He now can enter the country. And soon after the judge's ruling came in Djokovic's favor, he was out there in Rod Laver Arena, place where he's won the trophy 9 times at Melbourne Park, snapping a photo and telling the world how grateful he is for the judge's decision and how thankful he is for all the support he's received from his fans. But it's all a little bit still up in the air. The minister in charge of immigration in Australia has the right to overrule the judge's decision and can reinstate this ban on Djokovic from entering the country right now. This all comes down really to Djokovic's vaccination status and whether he can get around the rules in Australia that require everybody to be inoculated against the coronavirus to get in. He has not had his shots, but he was able to obtain an exemption based on the idea that in December he had COVID. This whole issue has stirred a lot of emotions among many people. Australians themselves were not thrilled about the idea of letting in a star athlete who wasn't vaccinated. They've gone through a lot in their country, especially in Melbourne, that hosts the Australian Open. That city and the state of Victoria have had very stringent lockdowns. They have a vaccination rate of over 90%. And on the other side, Djokovic has a lot of fans. He's a huge star back home in Serbia, certainly the most famous athlete, maybe the most famous person in Serbia. We saw protesters gathering, people outside that hotel on both sides of the issue. And when the judge's ruling came out showing that Djokovic would be allowed into the country and canceling the cancellation of his visa, the streets erupted with people incredibly excited that their hero, their man, Novak Djokovic, was going to be allowed into the country and allowed to play in the Australian Open, even though, of course, there is still the matter of the Minister for Immigration getting a chance to reverse the decision. After the judge's ruling came out in Australia, Djokovic's family, his parents and his brother, held a news conference back home in Serbia, obviously elated about the decision and framing it as the whole case as sort of a political issue, as opposed to having anything to do with the visa rules and the exemption that may or may not have been proper or not. He may find himself being booed mercilessly by the crowds in Australia who didn't think he should be allowed in and get this medical exemption. He may not have had the proper physical or mental, or certainly not ideal preparation for the tournament. But once he's on the court, he tends to be able to funnel any sort of seeming adversity into a positive direction to help him. It's why he's won the Australian Open a record 9 times. It's why he's tied for the most Grand Slam titles by a man in history with 20. And it's why he would still be considered the favorite if he is allowed to play in this Australian Open.